Hello, my lovely witches. I hope you are all well. Today we are talking wands. Something that I have noticed is that there's a lot of people out there, a lot of witches specifically out there, who love wands and they say, oh, I love the look of a wand, but I don't know what to do with it, which is interesting. Because I use wands a lot. I have a lot of them. And I love them. I love them not just to look at, but also to use. Having said that, if you love a wand and you don't want to use it, you can still sit it on your altar. I mean, there's nothing to say that just because an object doesn't have a particular use within your spiritual practice for a practical purpose doesn't mean you can't say, okay, I'm a witch, I've got a wand, I'm just going to sit it on my altar and look at it. You know, you can do whatever you want in your spiritual practice. As I keep telling you, you're probably sick of hearing me bang on about it, but I think it's important to recognize that, you know, this is a practice with no rules. So anyway, wands. My very first wand I sadly no longer have. It was one I made myself out of a piece of fallen willow branch that I found along the river in the city that I live in Adelaide. And I took it home and I sanded it back. I painted it purple and I glued a very small citrine crystal to the end of it, and that was that. I loved it and I used it for quite a long time. I wish I still had it. I don't know where it ended up. But, you know, that's okay. These things come and go, I suppose. The next wand is one that I purchased, and that's this one here. And although traditionally wands are made from wood, they don't have to be. And this one is not. It's actually made from a copper pipe and wrapped in leather and silver cord. Has a quartz crystal point and Pendragon at the top. And I bought this wand in the late 90s. And I've been using it ever since. And it has a very strong bond. I have a very strong bond with it now. You know, using it for so long. That makes sense. When I first started in my practice, I started pretty much just using wands to create sacred space or cast circle. Now, as we have discussed, I rarely do that these days. It does depend. I will occasionally cast circle. I'm not sure if I've talked about this before, so apologies if you're hearing things that I've told you a million times. But I will occasionally cast circle if I'm doing magic that I really, like very sort of strong magic, banishing magic, which I do so rarely, but I have done a couple of times in recent years. I feel the need to really contain that magic and not let it sort of seep out into my house. I know that might sound a bit weird, but that's how I feel about it. Whereas the majority of magic that I do is usually for myself, and it's protection or it's healing or it's abundance and prosperity magic or self-love. All of those energies, I think it's lovely that they permeate my home, and I don't just cast my spells in one spot. I don't just do them at my altar. Most of my spells are cast at my altar, but not all. I'll cast them in the kitchen. I'll cast them on the coffee table. I'll cast them, you know, in the studio if it's an art magic piece, or even here in my library. So where were we? Wands. Yes, casting circles. So that's the sort of main reason when I first started out in my practice why I used a wand and how I used a wand. And now it's probably the reason I use the least to use my wand. Does that even make sense as a sentence? My brain kind of went off there. Sorry, guys. Right, wands. So, as you have also seen, my Harry Potter replica wand. So again, it's also not made of wood. It's made of plastic. But that's okay. I've enjoyed using this wand for very, I want to say frivolous, but that's not quite what I mean. Fun magic. Magic that's about tapping into that inner child, or just stuff that's fun. So, as I said, I don't use it very often, but I will occasionally use it. This wand is one that I did make myself. Oh, Godric, I don't want your help. Please go away. Oh, thank you. This one I made myself. It's made from a piece of driftwood. And I've used fabric and ribbon and lace pieces and some shells, a small howlite skull and a black feather to decorate it. And this one was made specifically for working with the Cailleach, my goddess, and that is how I use it. So how do I use it with my goddess? Well, good question. Glad you asked. Mostly I will use it to make sigils. One of the main ways that I use my wand is to draw sigils in the air. So I might do it as an honor of her, and do that at her altar. I have another one that I use to work with the Green Man. This is a fairly recent purchase. Again, this is also not made of wood. It's made of resin. But it is gorgeous. I love it. And I will use that to work with the Green Man. And as I said, just using it as sigils. The simplest sigil is the pentagram. We all know how to make a pentagram in the air. I use it for most of my warding. That's another way that I use a wand, is for warding, whether it's warding doors and windows or protection over myself. You know, the Catholic, I think it's the Catholic, certainly Christian thing where you make the sign of the cross on your body, you know, your forehead and your belly and your two shoulders. I do the same thing as a pentagram. So top of my head down to my, let's say, the left side of my chest, my right shoulder, my left shoulder, the right side of my chest, and back up to my forehead makes a pentagram. I will often do that with a wand. One of the wands I like to use the most for that is actually this selenite wand. So again, another wand not made of wood. This, I've never bought selenite wands. I know I've had this chat before, that I have ended up somehow with like 7 or 8 selenite wands, and I've never actually gone out to purchase one. They've just come in subscription boxes and as gifts with parcels, or, you know, that sort of thing. But that's not to say they're not beautiful, and it's not to say that I don't use them. I don't really have a use for 8 of them. But this is a particularly beautiful one, and it feels particularly nice in my hand. And I will use that to ward myself. So that's another idea for using your wands. I also will do sigils and blessings over objects. So over candles, over new objects that come into my house. I might use my wand to sort of bless and consecrate my objects. Over oils that I make. Again, just another way to add your intention to the spell work that you're doing. And obviously over a candle for a specific purpose, you might, you know, over a candle. Other creations that I might make. This is a little pentacle, tiny little resin Orgonite pentacle that I made, and I will sometimes use my wand over things that I've created to sort of further imbue them with my energy. And whether it's a pentagram ward or whether it's a sigil that I've done, I'll do that. So again, jewelry is another one. This is a pair of snake earrings I've made. If I want to dedicate or use these earrings for a particular, I stuck those two words together then, particular purpose, then like these I use for sort of goddess energy, as the snake is a symbol of the goddess. And I will, perhaps, do a sort of triple moon type sigil over them for representation of the goddess. Or incense, particularly incense. This is an incense mix I've purchased, so I would rather add a little bit of my own energy to it. So I'll open it up and I'll get my wand out. I need to move some of these wands over. So I'll get my wand out, and this is a solar deity, so I might do a sun image around it. You can see where I'm going with this. I will use my wand to direct my own energy into a product or an object, or to my goddess, to myself, sort of as an offering, if you like, in the air. So, I will even just do a pentagram in the air as an offering to my goddess. That's me offering my energy to her. And that's another way you can use them. Now, you don't have to buy fancy pants wands or make fancy pants wands. This wand is one that I found on a walk, and I really loved the unusual shape of this stick. It's quite small, but it fits quite nicely in my hand, and I've not done anything to it. I just use it as is. So, look out for fallen branches that catch your eye when you're out on a walk, or go looking for fallen branches and see if one speaks to you and it feels right to be made into a wand. I've also got a couple of wands that are handmade but not by me. These two. I love this one. This is a really lovely sort of sound cleansing wand. Both of these came from subscription boxes. This one was definitely Muses of Mystery. I'm not sure. I think this one was as well. And as you can see, there's a lot of beautiful, lovely handcrafted work gone into both of these. I think this one was designed more for a smoke cleansing wand, and that's certainly a thing you can do. You've seen that I've also got one that I made with quite a lot of feathers for that. But it's just, choosing a nice branch. This one's been painted silver. This one's been left, and I love the fact that it's got a bit of lichen on it. I don't know if you can see that in there. Hopefully that's focusing because I can't see above me. And then there's, one of my most recent creations has been this art wand. And not only was this really fun to make, I was inspired by Katrina the Smiling Witch to make this, and I believe she in turn was inspired by Tay the Kynoch Witch, who has beautiful creations, by the way. Shout out to her as an Indigenous creator as well. Her work is stunning. I have several pieces of hers. I've just ordered some more for my birthday, and I can't wait for them to arrive. So this is one that I use with my art spells particularly, but not just that. It can be used for any purpose. It's a wand. I can use it. So if I've, this is one of my oracle cards. Let's say I've just made it. I could bless and consecrate that as an art spell with my art wand. And this one is one that I made, and I think I've shown you in a previous video, for my prosperity work, and it sits on my prosperity altar. Little tiger's eye there, the handle wrapped in this gold ribbon. This is a piece of ash, fallen branch from my ash tree, which I've sanded lightly just to smooth it down a bit so it doesn't catch on things, but I didn't want to take all of the bark off it. And then I've wrapped copper wire and crystals for prosperity work around the end. So there you go. That's a few ideas on how I use wands. Essentially, I see them as energy channelers. They're an extension of my body, and they're a way to focus energy into things. And those things can be anything. You can use them to, as I said, ward your home, or protect yourself, add intentions to ritual objects or things you're going to wear. You could even use them for channeling energy into your house plants or your garden plants. You might like to craft or create. I'm doing it again. I'm squishing words together. I love to do that. Sorry. You might like to make a wand specifically for that purpose, specifically for your garden, with something from your garden. If you are taking plant material from a live plant, ask if it's okay. If you get the sense that it is, thank the tree, plant, whatever it is. But personally, I don't feel the need to do that once something has been shed, because I think a tree that has lost branches, they've shed those, they're done with them. They no longer need them, and therefore they're fair game. But if you feel you need to also, you know, thank the plants that have shed their things, then do that too. So I hope this has given you some ideas on making wands and using wands. Happy wanding. Thank you, my lovelies. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.